I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey Buzzers, I am so excited. We have another fantastic episode of the Ultimate Tag After Show. And as always, we have fantastic guests joining us today. I got two taggers, I got some winners, and it's all about to go down right now. So first and foremost, let's say hello to everybody. So we've got our winners. Hey, Emmy.
Hey.
And of course, Christelle. Hi, and Yesenia Dynamite.
What's up, guys?
And of course, we have Austin Big Deal.
What's up, y'all?
What's up? I'm mad at Big Deal, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. First and foremost, though, we got to start this with hashtag who I love to hate. That is the contestant or the tagger that you love to hate because they are just so fucking good. Like maybe you're jealous or you're just mad at them because they tagged you out and they outran you. So I'm going to start first and then I'll let you guys take it away. My hashtag who I love to hate for the first time ever is a contestant. And it's Emic because I am just so jealous of you. Like, you just flew through the showdown. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I could do that. So, hashtag I love to hate you. And with that, I'm going to let you go.
Hashtag love to hate. It would have to be LaFlair.
Okay, why?
We're in the dome and it was just me and him laughing at each other. I told him I'll give him the money if you let me win. He didn't drop off. But it was intense because he's a skilled like parkour free running athlete. So, and he's the very first person I started to watch as I got into my own training in parkour. So it was literally watching the person who like got me into parkour and I'm standing on the same stage as him. So literally all the adrenaline was going on and we had an awesome battle and it was just like, he was behind me the whole time. And it was just like, I don't know, he's too damn good.
Christelle, who do you love to hate?
I'm gonna go with a contestant. Hashtag I love to hate is Tom Jumps. He was like from 2 weeks ago and he did 27 seconds on the showdown. And he's just, this is like, he just, it's so easy for him. I'm like, when I met him, he's the first guy I met, like as the contestant, super chill, super cool courses. And I'm like, what the? And I was like, all right, we're just in the waiting room the whole time and he kills it. So get it, Tom.
Nice. So, Yesenia, Miss Dynamite, who do you love to hate?
Oh man, that's a tough question because I hate everybody. No, I'm joking. Really joking, you guys. You know what? I don't think there was anyone that really stood out in particular. I can't speak contestant wise, but you know what? I'm gonna pick on Tavon on the flow only because when we were during testing time, he actually had the chance to run in back of me. And let me tell you, when I look back and I see that man just gliding through these obstacles in back of me, you know, like a damn cheetah, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what the contestants feel. And I'm running for my life. And I'm like, Jasenia, just use like, you know, like, I don't know, go under something because you cannot run this man. So I tried going under obstacles and I just hid in there in the plexiglass on the mountain and he was trying to get me. I'm like, ha, you can't get me now. But eventually he tagged me out. But I was just like, oh, this man, you can't get away from him. And I think I just love to hate him because I'm like, there has to be just one time that I see, you know, like that he can't tag someone up, but he's amazing. And I don't know if I love to hate him, but I love him for sure.
Yeah. Austin, what about you?
I'm going to go with the same thing because I never got to practice with him or race with him. But, I mean, obviously, we all see that he doesn't touch the ground.
Right.
When they say go, it's just like the next time you see him, he has a tag in his hand. And it's just unbelievable. I mean, backstage, there was times where he was just like barely awake. And then he had to go up. And then he's just like all of a sudden a new person. And I'm like, I need to stretch. I need to warm up something, and this guy's just ready to flow, and it's like unbelievable. So I love you, but I hate you, Flo. Sorry.
That said, Fernando is actually in the chat. He was on the show too, so he's saying hello. And then he was saying that Tom's cool. He's from Canada. And then Grant Kenyon cannot wait to see Dynamite. Grant had typed that in before we got started, so I just wanted you to know that people are
that's so sweet.
excited
Hi,
to see
Grant.
y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to start with a little bit of your guys' background, because obviously we have those packages in the beginning of the show, but it's edited down so much. So I want the fans to get to know you guys a little bit more. And this I'm going to start with the taggers, just since we start with contestants first. And Austin, I want to start with you, because you're talking about the flow and everything, but you're quite the athlete. I follow you on Instagram. If you guys don't follow him, and I love that you post your fails as well as your amazing successes. So talk to me about your background and how you even got into posting all those videos.
So, geez, I did my first flip, okay, when I was maybe like 3.5, and I was watching. Yes, I swear, 1993, the Power Rangers just started airing on TV, and I was instantly hooked. The Power Rangers, Tommy, Jason, Kimberly. Oh my God, the original Power Rangers.
I love Kimberly.
And so that's what got me hooked. And I started doing backflips on my mom's couch, and she hated it because one, it was dangerous, and two, I was putting holes in them. So I had to find another source, which was martial arts. And it was like, we didn't have YouTube back then, so it was kind of like monkey see, monkey do with movies. Jackie Chan, huge inspiration. Jean-Claude Van Damme, all the Power Rangers, you name it, all those OGs right there. And then mostly self-taught backyard trampoline, and just is playing with my buds in the backyard, and it led to actually in high school I started cheerleading, and from there, I learned a plethora of tricks and met a bunch of people that were just like so willing to collaborate and help. And unfortunately, I did have a hard time when I was 17 and 19. I tore my ACL, MCL, LCL, cartilage, and meniscus in my left knee, and then ACL, MCL, PCL, cartilage, meniscus in my right knee. So that was fun. And but it was a great learning curve for me. It was I loved it so much. I loved moving and flipping, and just that was my adrenaline stick. And when I fell in love with that, I couldn't get away from it. And so I learned from my mistakes, and thank God YouTube came out, because that was a huge thing for me. And I got to see all these other, Jesse LaFleur was one of them, all these Damian Walters, all these other big names in my world, helped me out so much. And I just kept on going with it. And here we are today. I'm 30 years old, and, I'm flipping for a living still. And it's been an absolute blast. And it doesn't help the fact that I get to do it with the person that I love. And her name is, we all know, Rocket. So, that's a plus too. I get to do and enjoy what you do with the person that you do it with, and yeah, it's great. It's good stuff. So yeah, did I answer everything? I just kind of mumbled a little bit, like rambled a little.
That's all good. Yesenia, why don't you tell us a little about you?
Thank you, Austin. I actually get the same way when I have to talk about Chris. I'm like perfect, and then I talk about my fiance, and I start mumbling, and I'm like a little. So actually, mine is a little interesting. I actually, when growing up, I was always very competitive, but I was actually really shy growing up, extremely shy to be a part of anything. I did run track a lot in school, and I was always part of every like field day, and people would always want to pick me because I was like always the fastest, most competitive and aggressive. And as I started growing up, I actually wanted to be a singer, and that's what I wanted to do. And singing was like my life and what I did. And then once I hit like 18, that kind of was just a phase, and I stopped doing it. And I got into bodybuilding, and I started competing in like fitness competitions. I was a little bit overweight during that time, which actually I haven't posted my before and after picture in a while. But I was a little bit, maybe I would say like 45 pounds over. I'm 115 now, and I'm like 5'2", so I was a little chunky. I've never been fat, but I was a little chunky. And I was just like, I'll be so happy if I could just stand on stage with other beautiful girls. Like, that's all I wanted to do. Like, look beside me and be like, oh, I've accomplished this. They're beautiful. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to be on stage and wear like a nice Wonder Woman bikini and like feel like I could be on a stage with other pretty girls. And then once I got there, it wasn't enough. I was like, I don't like this because number one, I like to eat a lot and I can't do these diets for too long. And I don't feel like I'm challenging myself physically enough. Afterwards, I started getting into parkour because I was actually really interested in the stunt world. And I started YouTubing like all these amazing stunt women and stunt men. And I was just like, oh my God, like I want to learn how to do this. Like, how do you even do a flip? Like, how do you, this is insane. So there's actually in Miami, a place called Miami Free Running Academy, which is a parkour gym. And I met a bunch of guys there and they're like, hey, so what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, here, I'll teach you a double carve. So for you guys that know parkour, basically I learned how to do everything double before I could do just single. Like I learned how to do a vault before I knew how to run properly. And it was just insane, like training with mostly guys because they would always challenge you, or as a woman, you sometimes didn't feel like you were enough because sometimes they would do things that you were like, how do you do that? And, you know, it's different for female athletes because, you know, a lot of our weight is in the bottom rather than in the top. And like, there's so many things that I had to train and relearn. And it was definitely an interesting journey for me. Been doing like parkour for now like 4 years, and it's been just amazing the amount of opportunities I've gotten out of it. And it also helped me a lot with my anxiety disorder because back then I had really bad anxiety, and it just challenged me in ways that it helped me so much mentally and physically. And I mean, when I first started, I couldn't even do a pull up. And they were just like, you look so strong. Maybe you could do a pull up. I tried to do one and I got so mad. I'm like, I can't believe I can't. This is so embarrassing because you look like a trophy, but you're not strong, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to work my twitch muscle. So I had to rebuild myself at an older age and basically not become discouraged by the fact that I was already, you know, that I didn't learn everything as a kid. And basically just erase that from my mind, just become tunnel vision and just try to learn everything, and just be humble with what you know and what you don't know. And I was like, if I didn't know how to do something, I'll just ask someone, hey, can you teach me? I don't know how to do this. Even if it was just a simple cartwheel, even if anything that it was, I just learned how to be a humble athlete. And that opened a lot of doors for me. And just being honest, so much that I started transitioning into stunts. So then now, basically that's what I do the most. It's what I love. And now I just actually got off working motion capture for a movie, which is coming out hopefully December of this year or next year. But it's been an amazing journey. And I mean, I've loved it. And that's about it.
Nice.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so I have to go to my contestants. First of all, both you guys obviously have a dance background, which is cool. I love that you guys represented for all the dancers and took home a win.
Hey.
I do want to know a little bit about how you guys prepared for this particular competition, because there's not a lot of time that you're aware of it. And just to add really quickly, Yesenia, to what you're saying about the whole women body difference, because Emmy, I know that you started as a break dancer, and I've definitely trained in that as well. And I trained with boys, and I'm like, you guys don't get it. My booty's heavy. Anyway, but yeah, Emmy, how did you train for this particular show?
I mean, I started like breakdancing, like you said, in 8th grade for a girl that showed. But I kept with it because I come from like a very conservative Ukrainian Russian family. So I was getting grounded the first year by my parents for dancing. And it was breakdancing. It's not hip hop. It's not anything. I was being grounded when they caught me practicing doing like the spiders and windmills at home. I would get in trouble for it. And so it was a way for me to kind of like push back, be a little defiant and everything else, until I got into a dance class in high school, which they hated because I quit violin for. And I started dancing, and I was like super uncomfortable. I was the whitest dancer you could ever have seen. It was horrible. I know Russians are good dancers, but that's in ballet, not hip hop. And so I kept dancing throughout high school, kept falling in love, trying all the different dances and continuing breakdancing. Then I got into college, and all the break dancers just said they're too old to practice anymore, and I didn't have anyone to dance with anymore. Uh, I then started going to like this open gym for like cheerleaders, which was Austin. I started learning everything from the cheerleaders, all the flips, and so I learned all my flips pretty much like senior year of high school into college. Um, and then later down the road, I got sent a video about Jesse the Flair and by my brother. And so I saw that and I was like, dude, that's dope. I want to do backflips off the wall. I want to do that. That'd be so sick. And so I started like training like once every couple of months, and like it, I don't know, kind of kept up with it, just injuring myself. Like I'll go out, train, injure myself. 3 months later, go train again, and I'd just be throwing myself in like on the grass, on the like cement and everything. I know nothing. There's no parkour community here in Fresno during that time, so I was just by myself, bringing my little like sister and my cousins and stuff like that with me, just like I don't know, teaching them what I didn't even know. I kept doing it, just like doing kind of like just flips off things until I started to like really like kind of take it more like serious. About 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I got hired as a parkour coach, which I know nothing about. I don't know how to stride. I don't know how to precision. I don't know anything. They just saw that I had fancy flips, and they were just like, "Yeah, you could teach this." And so, pretty much 3 years ago, I started parkour,
Wow.
and then 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, I started calisthenics, in which I've already created first in the world like over 15 tricks, like corkery grab, grand flare, like multiple tricks for the sport that like has never been seen in the world. And so I started making a name out of that, and I still continue to practice calisthenics mostly and parkour a lot as well. And it was, yeah, I came in with a lot, or like a large background with the strength aspect, parkour, breakdancing, everything kind of helped me out there.
Nice. So Christelle, tell me real quick, what did you do to prepare for this particular competition in utilizing your background?
So I learned how to flip never. That's definitely my skill set. I honestly got thrown into this. I really just thought like, cool, I'll just get on this Skype, casting and see what it's about. But I have never played a sport in my entire life.
Wow.
And 7 years, never. And I was like a classical ballet dancer till I was 18. I did show choir, musical theater. And then when I got to college, I stopped because I was like trying to do the right thing and like go to school like I thought I had to, right? And then I gained all this weight. So at my heaviest, I was like 200 pounds 7 years ago. Wow. And I was like, I can't live like this anymore. And I need to dance again because I stopped dancing. And then I lost the weight and then got so passionate about taking group fitness classes. And then I ended up being a fitness instructor. And then that led to like, doing like HIIT training at different studios. And one of the clients at the gym I was working at was, his boyfriend was Sean, the casting director. And he was like, you should get on the show. And I was like, I think this is the wrong show because I'm a dancer. I don't know anything about parkour. But I was like, sure, why not? And I remember the first day, like sitting and watching all the female taggers, and I was like, what the hell did I sign up for? Like, I already signed everything. Like, I have to do this. But I really was just like, you know what? Just go in with like open mind. And, when we did the training and everything, I was like, is there a way to like not sign this paper or like get out of here? Because I don't think this is not right for me. But it ended up to be like the best thing ever because I never played sports. It was like, oh, the inner competitive side of me and like the frustrated, athlete that I've always wanted to like test out came out. And it was a really good way to like test the skills that I had recently learned from dance and fitness and yoga and training. And after all that weight loss, I was like, this is like a great challenge. And the last thing on my mind was to win. I really was like, I just need to survive these obstacles. Like, let me just get like without any scars or like get injured. And it worked out for the best. So I was like really glad that I met all these amazing people, and respect for parkour. I never would think I would enter that world. And sure enough, after I like went to Tempest Training Center, and I was like, we gonna take a workshop. We gonna work on our parkour. So now, like, can I jump on that? We gonna try though. So I love it. I like have such a whole new respect for free runners, parkour, and all the athletes and taggers. I was like, y'all killed it. It was awesome. It was such a great experience.
I will say that is one awesome thing about this show is I think there was a select community that was aware of parkour, maybe didn't have a name to it. And this show really does highlight that. So kudos to them. But I do want to do like an overall and just talk about episode 7 specifically, because I feel like, I mean, first of all, the guys put on an amazing competition, and like both you and Luke were like neck and neck, and like you were the underdog. And even watching Dome Tag, I was like, oh my goodness. All of you guys, I think like 4 of you, well, I mean, all of you guys did Dome Tag, but woo. But yeah, and girl wise, you guys did an amazing job. Kristen, if I remember correctly, in the green room, she had injured herself during a rehearsal. She hurt her knee, and every time I saw her, she had ice on it. So when I watched this episode last night, I was like, you would never know that she was competing in pain.
I probably wouldn't have picked on her if Kristen or Kristen, is it? Yeah, I didn't pick on you. I don't think I did. I don't think you were in my heat. But I know, what was the other young lady? Is it Kristen?
Cameron?
No, the blonde.
They're both blonde. It was Kristen.
The
she
cop.
Was all
The cop.
days, so it's so confusing.
Yeah. I kept picking on her, and I think she just kept making eye contact. I'm like, stop looking at me, girl. I'm gonna tag you. But yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, actually, because now I'm going to ask the taggers, how did you guys strategize in terms of the people you were going to go pick on? Were you just like, okay, that person looks weak, or that person looks slow, or you just kind of blanked out and went?
You know what? I think the competitors that think too much are the ones that get picked out. You know what I mean? Like, if you just go and you just gun it, we're not gonna pick on you. But the ones that second thought and then get, left in the pack, it's kind of like, when you see like the tigers going after their prey, and it's usually the Bambi or the slow one. Yeah. Well, I mean, and not necessarily the slow one, but the person that gets picked out, it's I just like go for whoever I see. And it always happened to be someone that made eye contact with me. And I'm like, why do you look at me? Now I gotta go chase after you.
Yeah.
What about you? That's why I didn't look at you. I was like, I ain't looking at
She's like, I'm gonna run and look up.
I never really had anyone specific that I was sort of going for. It just kind of like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm gonna get you no matter where you go, So like that's kind of how it was. And then I kept on in my mind. I was like, okay, put on a good show, entertain these people, have a blast. And let's tag some people, it wasn't, but I was kind of hoping someone was going to start, picking on me. It's not my, like I have a very humble side with my movements and stuff. And I don't like to talk. I just like to, I'd rather show you, I'd rather walk. And so it's just I was kind of hoping someone was going to start picking on me, but, no one did. And, but it just, it's kind of, I'm gonna get you no matter what. It's just kind of like I'll show you too. So that's it.
I will say, well, when Dome Tag started, and you were the first one in, actually, I think you were chasing after Luke, and I was like, okay, big deal. He's kind of a big guy, right? So like, no, I figured like there was such a small area, and then you went in there and you're like, ting, ting, ting.
Oh, yeah. Dome Tag was actually one of my favorites. I love Dome Tag. Yeah. What I didn't like about Dome Tag is that we had to be in the crow's nest, which you don't get to see too often, but there's we're in this 7x7 box hanging over the dome, and it is, first off, it's freezing up there, and sometimes I remember I had to wait up there for 40 minutes at one time, and I think I was last, so I actually before we even got started on the game itself, it was just 40 minutes. And then I was the last tagger to go in, and I was just like, oh my God. But yeah, that was my least favorite thing about dome tag. But other than that, I wish I played it more. I only played it a couple times, but I like dome tag.
Austin, did you ever think about doing the flying squirrel at somebody? You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to do it so bad, but I know I'll probably be called out. So, like, I don't know if you guys ever watched dome tag a million times and thought to yourself, like, if they're right there, what if you just jump and fly and take the tag? You know what I mean? Just fall. But if we did that, we'd probably get in trouble. But I'm like, but how epic would that look? And yeah, also really stupid if you don't get the tag.
True.
You know,
Either way,
I would have loved to do that.
Yeah, no, season 2, let's go for it. You know, let's see.
I'm
See what happens.
And then Emmett, for both you and Luke lasted a really long time. Luke lasted like 8 minutes, I think like 45 seconds or something like that. What was like for you watching him go through tagger after tagger? Like, did that build up any anxiety for you knowing you had to go next?
So that was the one, because like the first 2, I was just like having fun. I literally did not even think that I would get like kind of far. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was trying to finish school. So like then dome tag comes in. I'm like, okay, this is where I make points and just like give myself a cushion for the end. And I'm like, okay. And then I see, Austin go after him, gets them. Oh, okay, fine, I can do this. I feel confident. And then he just keeps going and going and going. And like, I'm just standing there and I'm like, I kind of want to sit down now. Like, I just want to sit with the guy with the camera just like right there the whole time. And I'm just like, and I was actually cheering him on. Like the whole time, me and Luke were just like very supportive for one another. Like we just like, hey, like just, you did amazing. So like, it looked like I was like trying to be like laughing at him when he got tagged, but I was actually like, come on, like Luke, like get back up again. So maybe it looked like, a douche more than anything else, but I was very supportive of him. And it was just it was still annoying to see him go all the way to like 9 minutes. I was just like, well, here I go. And then out of like my luck, I get, the kid, Rocket, and LaFleur, which all 3 I follow on Instagram for the past couple of years or even more. And I'm just like, wow, my luck is amazing.
Yeah, but that's flattering. Like the producers, I actually learned this last episode from one of the taggers, is the producers started to pair people with taggers that they felt were in their kind of vicinity of skill level. So the fact that they were sending all these pro people in your direction is like,
I was really excited because I never got to meet them. I've always watched them on Instagram, but I've never got to meet them. And so I'm getting into the dome. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, do I say something? Do I talk? Like, hey, I'm like I'm over here like fanboying and stuff like that. I'm like, shoot, Rocket, Julian, like I know everyone's names. So I'm just like, do I say something? And the kid, Corbin, like calls over to me and he's like, hey, you're Emic, right? And I'm like, my face just gets all red. I'm just like, yeah. And he was like, you're the guy that did like the crazy trick like on the bars and everything. I'm like,
oh
yeah,
I do remember that.
And he was just like, dude, that was sick, bro. And I was just like, what? Yeah. I literally was like, that's when my adrenaline kicked in already. And then the game started like 30 minutes later. And so another wave of adrenaline. And then the game stopped, whatever, the whole thing. But in general,
sorry, go ahead. No,
go ahead. No, go ahead, Austin.
No, it all clicked just now because like we were watching your video backstage, and it was just like, holy crap, this guy that was ridiculous. Like, it all makes sense now. Sorry, I had a moment.
No, that's so great. I mean, I've been following you for years, so yeah.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
So, I mean, I knew I was going to go under. I have good grip strength. I'm small. So I was like, I could beat anyone underneath that thing. Doesn't matter who it is. I don't care if it's Corbin. I got bar skills. I'm going to do this. And so I was doing really good until I realized like, yo, 3 minutes is long under bars and you're swinging and running. And then adrenaline, and like then I kind of just quit going underneath and trying to run over and everything. And that's when I started to get tagged out. I felt so heavy after like 3 minutes. After Julian the Rocket, I felt like lead. So I don't know.
She exhausted you.
Yeah. And Christelle, we didn't really get to see your guys' because they've been alternating between episodes, so you kind of got.
Thank God they did not. Amen.
But like, give me a quick rundown.
Yo, I didn't last long. And to be honest, like we got to go in like 7 a.m. to do like flight school. And I was like, Lord, you better be with me today. And I was like, cool, like we might just like, film it later in the day. Like come to find out that I was the first one to go. And I was like, damn. And the taggers
what a
were
great
fresh.
feeling.
Like they had PTs. They were like good. They were like warmed up. And I was like, oh God, like just hope I don't fall out of it incorrectly. I ain't trying to hurt myself. I just kept trying to talk like positive affirmations to myself, but I was more scared to fall out of it than to actually play the game. Cause like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like when you're done playing the game, you like drop down to the air mattress or the huge air mattress, and the producer counts me down and I just stay frozen, like just not moving. And he's like, do I need to bring down the dome? And I'm like, no, I got this. Just give me like 4 more seconds. I got this. And I'm like holding on tight, and I literally needed like a word vomit to like come out of it. And you see me slowly like fall back. And then the MC and the audience is like, go Crystal. And I was like, Lord, you help me. Like, I didn't break nothing. Like, we good. I was like, just grab my tag. I just don't want to fall out of this like in the wrong way or like slam my head. But honestly, that made me like want to do like flight school for real, because that was so fun. And then first of all, watching all the taggers fall out of the dome like it's easy like poses, I was like, not tripping. I was like telling my boyfriend, because he watched, and he was like, see, why did you just fall out like that? I'm like, you do flight school for 40 minutes and try to come out looking cute. It's not gonna happen because you've never done it before. So it was such a fun time. But I just keep telling that story because I'm like, I didn't know nothing, and it happened, and I was like, thank God. When I landed, I was like, thank the Lord, amen, here we go, let's move on, let's move forward.
Right. So I mean, at that point, were you even thinking about winning the competition, or you're like, I'm just gonna survive and have my face by the time I'm done?
Literally kept saying like, she needs to survive. It's okay. You made it. You don't need to win. It's fine. Do win the money. Like, you're gonna do something good with it. Like, that's what I just kept telling myself. Like, and then I was like, when I got to the end, I was like, oh, you could really do this. And then when Showdown happened, I was like, that's fine. We're going to do this. Like, that's when I got into like competitive mode. I was like, all right, all the other stuff is done. This is the last one. Like, you can give it your all, girl. You got this.
Nice.
I want to talk to you guys taggers too, as far as we didn't get a chance to talk about Dodge Tag. Yesenia, you went into that. First of all, let's just talk about, this is a totally different elements, but Elijah went into his first, chase tag, egging on the flow, did a backflip, and I was like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing right now?
He was like right before, he was like, I'm gonna call him out. Everyone's scared of him. I'm gonna show that, like, he was so cocky. And then like you think he would learn, but the next one comes around and he was like, no, redemption. I'm gonna show him what's up. And like now I'm like, and me and Luke, we didn't like tell him no. We're like, yeah, it's a good idea. Like, you make good TV. Like, dude, you got this. We were like, we're looking at each other, like, oh my God.
It's funny you say that, because the first thing I thought was, he really doesn't want $10,000. Like, I really think he just wants to make not even good TV, maybe for Tavon, but he want to make TV, because I'm like this man don't want the money, because he's gonna tag you out. This is what he does, like. I guess he didn't want the money, because I wouldn't have picked on him. I would have been like, don't even worry about me, like, you know what I mean?
Well, and I was like, that's why they put the flow in Dodge Tag. I'm like,
yep.
They obviously saw something, and I was like, dude. I mean, he did okay during that element, but like once you lose the first one, you're kind of screwed,
Well, he was also Austin. You remember when he was backstage, Tavon? He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get him." Like, everybody was just we remember when he made his comment, and we saw it, and Tavon was just there, and he was like this. I was like, I've never seen that man so quiet. And when he gets quiet, it's not good. And that's it. Like, he don't speak a lot. He's just like, okay, now he's gonna go hunting, because in Dodge, during Dodge Tag, he said it. He's like, I don't care about anybody else. I'm going after him. Like that's all I want.
Yeah.
And he wasn't trying to get anybody else. He's just trying to get him out. Yeah.
Well, he made it easier for you, Emmett.
When I met
You're like, thank you very much.
Yeah, I was like,
Yesenia, I think I saw you go down though during that episode. At some point, like,
Yeah.
I was like, ow. Talk to me a little bit about what happened there.
If you slow it down and you go back, so what happened was as I'm striding through and I'm actually going for that jump, now so is Geek. And I'm coming this way and he's coming this way. We're going for the same person. And as I'm jumping, I'm like, okay, I either gotta back up and I can't because I'm in the middle of a stride, or I just gotta kind of take it and go into like a side roll. So I'm like, okay, I just gotta go and kind of jump over Geek and go into a side roll. So it was one of those moments, like that you just gotta make a quick decision.
Yeah.
And the decision was just to keep going and roll out of it, because if I would have just jolted back, I probably would have gotten hurt. So I'm like, Geek and I did not see each other, and we just.
Yeah.
That's
Did you have any moments like that during like the season in general?
That what do you mean, like
as far as, because that course you guys got to work on it a little bit but not a whole lot, and it was definitely challenging. Like even the kid and LaFleur were like, it's difficult for somebody who's not typically used to flying through something like that. So my question is actually to Austin, to ask you, like, did you ever find yourself in a pickle, if you will, going through the course?
Oh yeah. Like my endurance is not up to par for that game. I mean, it's like you don't stop moving and jumping and running, and at some point you find it like, oh, I have to breathe. Oh, okay, let's do that now. So like it's like you don't stop in dodge tag, which I loved. But I mean, as a tagger, it's a little more. You have 3 people coming at you, and you have to make a decision. It's like, okay, can I get 2 at a time, or can I just worry about 1? Or
right.
Oh yeah, watch out for this step right here, because that thing just kind of grabs you and has never worse. And it was like fun one. I liked it, but it was a tough one for as a tagger, but that's the thing though. Like you have like within the entire game, you may have what you think is a strategy, but you have to be ready to change that instantly, because you don't know what's going to happen.
You can't predict.
You can't.
Yeah.
You really can't.
I feel like especially in dodge tag, you can't have, there's really not a strategy. It's just the strategy is just to run and just to make adjustments as you're going, because there's too many things happening at once. And also we didn't have a lot of time, the taggers, we didn't have a lot of time on any of the courses beforehand. We probably maybe had, what was it, like 5-10 minutes or around there. We had very little time like to try it out, and a lot of the times we would just, as soon as we got in, we tried the course and went back to makeup and hair. So it was like, there wasn't a lot of time.
There's a huge misconception, I think, amongst the contestants. I mean, I can't speak for Emmy or for Christelle, but in my mind and the other girls that were in my episode, we were like, oh yeah, someone told us you guys had like 3 months. So we're like, that is just not fair, So to know that you guys had such little time, to me also goes to show that you guys really adjusted well, and the producers and casting directors did a great job.
I had actually just came out of another show, and I got called a week. So they had casted me the year beforehand, around like September, August, and then they told me, okay, next year I want you to come in and try it out. But during that time, I was in another show, and I literally flew in from one show, and 2 weeks later was in California. So I really didn't have time for anything at all, not even to like train, process anything. So yeah, a lot of the things I think you learn along the way. A lot of us are involved in entertainment. You got to always be ready and just go, and just adjust as you're going, and that's it.
So let's talk about the showdown. Christelle, I want to talk to you first, because you went in there also the underdog, as well as Emick did. You were under in points. So obviously you had to go first. You had a great time. And then you also had a competitor that you had to watch go after you and pray that their time was not as fast as yours. So walk me through that particular section of the show for you.
When I found out Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Anna.
You go first. You go first.
Okay, I'm sorry. So when I found out that we were tied, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's anyone's game. And after dodge tag, like after the first like point I got, I sprained my ankle. So like during those next days, I was like trying to go through. I did dome tag with a sprained ankle, and I was just taped up. So showdown, I was like really taped up. So there's a part where like like Lorena's right behind me, Tom and I like nursing my foot, and looking back, and I'm like, oh man, like I felt like I could have gone faster during that time. But again, survival mode, I'm like, just get through the course, girl. And the most scary part for me was that big jump before heading to the mountain. And I was like, you know what? She's just gonna grand jeté across and use her dancer skills safely so that we don't fall. And that worked. And last night I like was watching and I was like, hold on, let me screenshot this jump because they got it. And my mom was like, oh my God, the ballet lessons, they paid off. I'm like, right, thank you, Mom. Thank you. It helped me with that $2,000. Okay.
That's awesome.
So as soon as I get up there and I see my time, I'm like, you know what? Like whatever the time is, we gonna celebrate. And I was like, let's give people a leg, let's give them a show. Like, here we go. And I was like happy with whatever the outcome was. So it was great.
Well, you know what I love too, because obviously Kristen, she had a hard time in that last section. Like she just looked like she was beat by the time she had to climb up the ramp. But I love that when she ended, she was still overjoyed with the fact that she finished, and I feel like she had such a great attitude. And that's not to say anything about anybody else, but amongst the different cast members that I had the opportunity to interact with, I was really, really happy that you won because somebody really nice won. And I thought she was just she showed something great, you know, losing and still being like, I did it. So,
yeah,
I really love that.
She was so positive, especially like with her being injured, and she had such a positive attitude going into it. And when we got interviewed like with the Watt brothers and we were like dancing, I was like seeing the camera and I was dancing, and she came in and she started dancing too. So it was like all good positive vibes, and she was such a good sport, and it was such a fun experience to like meet everyone, especially Kristen and we had one letter different from our name. It was so confusing, like Kristen, Christelle, and Cameron.
I got confused.
They're awesome ladies.
Yeah. And then Emmett, talk to me about your run too, because dude, you I actually saw that live. I was standing there and I'm like, oh my God, you flew through that. Did you stop and strategize at all prior to, or you're like, I'm just going to take it as it comes and go?
Actually, no, I just knew I was going to stride on top of those blocks. Other than that, we didn't like, I was debating either going through the hole in the beginning or over. And I was like, I could go over, I could pong that, but it didn't work out the way I planned. But like the strides were in it, and I was like, okay, like everything else I didn't have to really think about. It was just those two parts. But going into it, I actually thought Luke had 9 points over me because it was like in dome tag, like every 30 seconds you got a point or something like that. So I thought he got 9 points over me. So when I'm starting, I was like, I have to beat him by at least 9 seconds. And then like in a parkour race, like that is insane. Like that is that's how long a race like lasts. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going all out. Like there's like you can't, like that's it. And so I was super confident. I was like, okay, like there's no way he could beat me in a raw score, and all I have to do is do 9 seconds faster than him. So I treated it in that such. And I actually did not touch the ground after the first pillar, like right from the very beginning.
We saw.
I didn't touch the ground.
We saw you, Emmy.
But I had like Sydney Olsen up there. I had Sydney Olsen up there, and I was just like Spitfire, and I was just like dang it, but I don't know. We had an epic battle. I got up there and I pushed it down, and at that moment, like we kind of knew each other's times, the contestants. And so I had the fastest time until like Tom came up and ran it. But so I was like, oh shoot, like I had the fastest time. So I went all crazy. I knew I won. I knew I had it. I was already like celebrating, like I won. And when Luke went, I was just like, there's no way. I saw the score. I was like, well, good job, Luke. But
yeah, I felt bad for him watching. I'm sure he was like, shoot. And he slipped at one point, and I was like, oh, if that was me mentally, I'd like.
Yeah. And he had tape on, so I was like, Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to close pretty soon, but I do want to ask you guys as taggers, because this was such a great episode and the competition was so good. For you guys, at any point, did you guys get intimidated by some of the people that you were going against on the competition side?
No, here's the thing. We didn't know a lot about the contestants. They wouldn't share information about them, so it was kind of like a like a surprise every time, because although we wanted to know, okay, who we're going up against, all we would do is maybe like hear from certain people, hey, this person or whatever, but we didn't really get any info on them, which I'm glad, because as I watched the show, I'm like, oh, I would have been so much nicer. I'm glad I didn't know that. Like the young lady I went against, what's her name? That we kind of had our thing. That when I heard that she was homeless and all that, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, yeah, she had a smart mouth, but it was all like for TV and stuff. And the fact that I found out that she was like homeless and all that, I'm like, I have such a huge heart. Yes, Dynamite has a really big heart, and I'm like, I wish I could. Yeah, I'm like, I'm so glad we did not know everything that they showed, and I think they did that on purpose, because they definitely didn't want us to, like take it easy on anyone. So we did not know who we were going against. That was exactly what Icona, you said, that that was a producer's job behind scenes to like see, okay, we know who the taggers are and we know who our contestants are, and this is our match, but we did not know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Austin, for you, I mean, even like just in watching people prior to you about to go on, anybody intimidate you?
I mean, honestly, no one was really that big of a deal. So, it's just
I love that.
I'm still using it. A year later, I'm still using it. I'm gonna have to, it's my name. What am I gonna say? No. I mean, you never knew. You never knew, and everything is always unexpected. So like dome tag could be. I mean, I got out on revenge tag. I mean, it's just like you don't know what's gonna happen. Like you might not grab that tag that you thought was gonna be, oh, this is gonna be no problem, and then sure enough, it's like, I was right there. So you just never really know. And, that's it.
Can I just say though, that I love going against the boys. I just love it. If you could just always have me go against the boys, like it's the best.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that, I mean, if you're, for those of you that are involved in parkour, it shows the world this too. It has nothing to do. Yes, obviously, skill helps, but it's actually a game or a sport where both genders could be equal. You know what I mean? Very easily. So that's why whenever you see any of the games, yeah, the guys or the girls, they could both get tagged out. It doesn't matter the gender. Definitely, like I said, skills takes an important part, but also, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like there's been very talented taggers that have been tagged out by contestants. So it's just a game that anybody could win.
Yeah, definitely. And then I will say this with Austin, because I was like, oh, I got a bone pick with you. I don't expect you to remember me, but you tagged me out. And the thing is, and this is a compliment to you, you are so quiet. Like, I thought you were occupied with this girl, Erica, and I ran away and I was like, oh, he's busy. So I'm like at a slow jog, and they actually use the camera from my back, I think, to make it look cool. Yes. I'm like slow jog, and I turned around and all I see is, so good job to you for being stealthy and extremely quiet.
That's, it's part of the game.
Thank you.
Part of my game.
Anyways, but yeah, you guys, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your stories with all of our fans and with me, and congratulations to you guys who are winners. And
congrats to you guys.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope to see you guys in season 2. Before we exit though, in case somebody is not following any of you guys on social media, please share with everyone your handles, starting with Christelle. Give me your social, girl.
My IG is just exactly my name, at Christelle De La Rosa. It is what it is with my IG. Same for Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, and then my other lady.
Yes. Yesenia Cosio official, and then anywhere else like Facebook, Twitter, Yesenia Cosio, my name.
Emick,
Just my name, Emick_Kitson.
and Austin.
Just Google Austin Ray with an E, RAYE. All the stuff will pop up. Simple as
I
that.
love it.
Wham bam Sam.
All right. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you guys so much. My AfterBuzz people, thank you for tuning in. Little announcement. I actually just found out today, due to COVID, unfortunately, AfterBuzz is going to take a little bit of a hiatus, and then we'll come back in the fall. So this is officially the last Ultimate Tag after show, unfortunately. But you guys, keep in touch on social media. I'm at yours truly, Ali Kona, with underscores in between. And of course, these guys, excuse me, just gave me your handles. So talk amongst yourselves and keep up the conversation, because it's an awesome show. Thank you again, and I will see you guys later.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.